The street outside is drenched in silence. Streetlights flicker weakly, casting fractured shadows across cracked pavement. A faint hum from a distant generator vibrates through the empty night. Every window seems to watch. A narrow alley yawns to the side. Damp bricks glisten under the pale streetlights. Shadows twist unnaturally, stretching toward the darkened end. Something seems to move just beyond sight. The abandoned cafe on the corner sits with boarded windows. A dim neon sign buzzes intermittently. The smell of damp rot clings to the air. Something waits inside, unseen. A deserted subway entrance yawns beneath the city. Flickering fluorescent lights hum above empty stairs. Graffiti stretches across walls. A cold draft whispers upward, carrying the echo of something distant, something watching silently. Rooftops stretch endlessly above the city. Antennas and vents silhouette against the cloudy sky. A lone crow lands silently, then takes flight. The wind carries whispers from far below. A deserted parking garage hums with emptiness. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting long shadows across oil-stained concrete. Every corner feels alive, waiting. Faint echoes of footsteps that never come stir unease. A narrow bridge crosses over a dark canal. Railings are rusted, paint peeling. Water below reflects fractured city lights. A sudden splash echoes, though nothing is visible. The office tower lobby is empty, lights dim to half. Security cameras spin slowly, their red LEDs blinking. A faint echo of a dropped pen resonates, though the room remains still. A narrow forest path winds between skeletal trees. Mist hugs the ground, muffling sound. Broken branches crunch underfoot, though no one walks. The wind carries whispered voices that vanish before recognition. An abandoned playground lies under a broken street lamp. Rusted swings sway in the breeze. The laughter of unseen children echoes faintly, sending a shiver down the spine. The deserted library smells of dust and mold. Rows of towering shelves stretch into darkness. A book slides from a high shelf on its own, whispering secrets that no one is meant to hear. A fog-choked train station stretches empty. Benches sit under flickering lights. A distant train horn echoes, but no train arrives. The tracks glisten wet, reflecting a night that feels endless. The abandoned hospital corridor stretches endlessly. Ceiling panels sag, and flickering lights reveal peeling paint. Wheelchairs line the walls like sentinels. Somewhere, a monitor hums with static, watching, waiting silently. A derelict rooftop garden clings to life. Broken pots spill dirt onto cracked tiles. Vines sway in the breeze, casting twisted shadows against shattered windows. Silence presses heavily on the city below. The deserted theater smells of mildew. Velvet seats sag, and dust covers the stage. A single spotlight flickers weakly, illuminating a scene that never existed, as if waiting for an audience that will never come. The abandoned fire station stands silent. Rusted hoses coil like sleeping serpents. Flickering emergency lights cast long, unnatural shadows across cracked floors. Somewhere, the faint echo of a bell rings, though no one answers. A narrow industrial alley snakes between warehouses. Steam rises from vents, curling like ghostly fingers. Rusted machinery leans precariously, waiting. Every step echoes, but no one answers the sound. The abandoned parking lot is covered in mist. Empty cars sit under flickering lamps. A distant radio crackles faintly, though no signal exists. The cold night presses in, suffocating in silence. The long-abandoned hotel lobby smells of mildew and forgotten memories. Chandeliers hang broken, scattering weak light. The elevator dings softly on its own. Shadows of the past seem to lurk behind every doorway. A narrow city rooftop corridor stretches under the moon. Air conditioning units hum faintly. Shadows bend along the walls as a gentle wind passes. Something unseen watches from the far end. The empty theater stage stretches under a cracked spotlight. Dust swirls in the air. Old props lie abandoned, as if frozen mid-performance. The silence hums with unseen anticipation. A forgotten subway tunnel yawns endlessly. Water drips from broken pipes. Faint graffiti lines the walls, telling stories of those who passed. The echo of distant footsteps teases the imagination. The deserted shopping mall smells of mildew. Escalators sit frozen mid-motion. Neon signs flicker intermittently, casting fractured light across empty stores. A faint music box melody echoes from a forgotten shop. A narrow alley behind a skyscraper reeks of damp and decay. Trash bins lean dangerously. A single flickering lamp barely illuminates wet cobblestones. The night feels alive with unseen movement. The abandoned hospital stairwell groans under its own weight. Faint light filters from a broken window. Shadows twist along the walls, whispering stories of those who once climbed these steps. A forgotten rooftop helipad glistens under faint moonlight. Antennas creak in the wind. Faded markings on cracked concrete lead nowhere. The city below breathes silently, oblivious to what lurks above. The empty office floor smells of dust and old paper. Blind sways slightly despite the closed windows. A lone chair spins slowly on its own, as if guided by invisible hands. The city sleeps, but the night refuses to rest. Empty streets stretch endlessly. Shadows linger, shifting just beyond view. Something watches silently, waiting. The silence is heavier than any sound. The hallway stretches longer than it should. Doors line both sides, perfectly closed, perfectly still. A faint buzzing light flickers overhead, revealing scratches near every handle. None of them were there before. A locked office door stands at the end of a glass corridor. Reflections multiply endlessly. For a second, one reflection lags behind, then snaps back into place. The silence tightens. A hotel corridor smells of stale air and old carpet. Every door has a "Do Not Disturb" sign hanging perfectly straight. One sign begins to sway gently, though the air is still. Inside an abandoned classroom, rows of lockers stand sealed. Dust coats every surface. A locker door trembles softly, metal rattling for a breath before freezing again, as if warned to stay closed. A narrow apartment kitchen glows under a single bulb. Cabinets are all closed. One drawer slides open a fraction, revealing only darkness inside before easing shut again. A silent subway control room hums behind thick glass. Rows of switches remain untouched. One monitor flickers to life, showing a hallway that doesn't exist here, then fades into static again. A storage warehouse stretches endlessly, with sealed crates. Labels have faded beyond reading. Somewhere deep inside, wood knocks softly from within a box that remains perfectly still. A modern elevator lobby shines with polished mirrors. All elevator doors remain closed. The floor indicator begins counting downward without stopping, though no elevator arrives, and the numbers eventually vanish. Inside a deserted metro train car, every seat is empty. Doors remain sealed tight. The overhead announcement crackles softly, repeating a destination that no longer exists. A luxury apartment bedroom sits perfectly arranged. Curtains are drawn tight. The closet door creaks open an inch, revealing only blackness before gently sealing itself once more. A deserted city archive room smells of paper and dust. Filing cabinets stand perfectly aligned. One drawer slides open halfway, revealing empty folders, then shuts with a soft final click. A modern restroom corridor echoes with hollow silence. Every stall door is locked. One latch trembles briefly, metal tapping against itself before stillness returns, like nothing ever moved. Inside a corporate meeting room, chairs surround a polished table. Every laptop is closed. A projector screen lowers slowly on its own, displaying only darkness before rolling back up again. A residential laundry room hums faintly. Washing machines sit idle, with doors shut tight. One machine light blinks twice, then fades, leaving the room heavier than before. A narrow apartment balcony overlooks silent streets below. Sliding glass doors remain sealed. The curtain inside shifts slightly, pressing against the glass as if something stands just behind it. A dim underground parking elevator lobby waits in silence. Steel doors remain shut. The call button lights up on its own, glowing briefly before fading, leaving the air strangely heavier. A deserted museum hallway stretches beneath glass ceilings. Exhibit doors remain locked. One display light flickers on, illuminating nothing, then dies again without warning. A small apartment study sits perfectly arranged. Books line the shelves untouched. The desk drawer opens a fraction, revealing darkness inside, then slides closed with a soft, deliberate sound. A sealed airport boarding gate glows under sterile lights. Glass doors remain locked. The digital screen changes destinations rapidly before going blank, leaving only the distant hum of empty terminals. A narrow apartment storage closet stands slightly ajar. Boxes are stacked perfectly inside. The door creaks wider for a breath, then gently pulls itself closed once more. A silent underground subway platform stretches endlessly. Trains never arrive. The electronic arrival board flickers random numbers, then freezes, as a cold gust rushes through the empty tunnel. A corporate office conference room remains perfectly arranged. Chairs tucked in, projector off. The screen suddenly lowers halfway, pauses, then rises again without any visible control. A luxury hotel corridor glows with warm golden lights. Every door remains shut. One room's "Do Not Disturb" sign begins to swing gently, though the air feels completely still. An indoor shopping mall atrium stands deserted beneath towering glass ceilings. Escalators are frozen mid-step. Suddenly, one railing light travels upward alone, illuminating empty floors, before fading again. A modern kitchen rests in complete order. Stainless appliances shine faintly. The refrigerator door clicks open slightly, releasing a thin beam of white light, then seals itself again. A rooftop garden overlooks a sleeping skyline. Plants sway although no wind touches the city. One empty bench slowly turns a few degrees, then stops facing the edge. A public library reading hall stretches endlessly between towering shelves. Pages of a single open book begin turning one by one, though the air remains completely still. A glass elevator stands motionless between floors. The display panel flickers random numbers, climbing higher without movement, before suddenly returning to ground level. A quiet residential hallway stretches toward a closed window. Curtains begin lifting as if inhaling, revealing darkness beyond, then fall back into perfect stillness once again. Every door in the building stands perfectly closed once more. Silence settles like a final command. Yet beneath the stillness, something continues listening, waiting for another night.